Today is a good day. This week we're going to be working on some of the models from the Warhammer Quest Darkwater box. First things first, let's go over what's already been done. So we'll start with, I've primed everything in black. I've put some Zenithal highlights on the pestigores. And I've done some underpainting on the pox wretches. Next we'll go over what I've already painted, starting with the Blight Templars, with their pretty cool acid bases, underlighting and non-metallic weapons. I really liked painting these guys. They were a good experiment to kind of learn new skills. The first time I properly used an airbrush was with these minis, and yeah, I think they turned out really well. Let me know what you think down below. Next up we have a few of the pox wretches that I've painted, and these guys are themed as fallen Bretonnians or peasants from the Empire. So I've done some little bits of freehand over them with some Bretonnian symbols. And there you go, that's what I've painted so far. Now let's move on to the first model. Let's start with Mulgoth the Cleaver. I did this the same way I started the Blight Templars, which was with a generic prime of a green that was similar to the armour, and then followed by using the airbrush to create that underglow effect. To add a little bit more depth to the armour, I went over the whole thing with a slightly darker green, slightly more of the actual colour I was after. I like doing all my layering now in a scratchy kind of textured pattern. I feel like it brings more feeling out in the models. Following that, I proceeded to add a few more layers of highlights up on the armour, again using that same scratchy technique. Next we move on to the arm, and this was quite fun. So I started with using just a very dark purple contrast paint, I think it was Leviathan purple, in all the recesses, and then pretty much just blended that with a pink to create this kind of pink tone. And then I built that up lighter and lighter until I got to a fleshy colour, making sure to not impact that underglow that I had sprayed in previously. Once that was done, I decided to add a bit more depth to the armour again, and I came in and just added like quite a dark green into all the recesses, and then blended that out until I reached that same highlight point I had previously. And this just added a bit more depth to the whole armour, added a bit more green, a bit more nurgliness, really tied it all together. Next I just slapped on some brown and some highlights for the horns, and they were pretty much done, and then it was on to the rust effects. Now I've picked up the Dirty Down Rust, and that stuff is so sick. It creates so much texture and character to the sections you add it to. Now the weapon was really fun. I don't know if anybody's played the Soul Calibur games, but there's a character in those called Nightmare with a big old sword that has a big old eye in it. This weapon just really reminded me of that, if it was an axe. So I went with that and kind of tried to recreate that same kind of demonic yellowy, orangey glow that sword has. And all that was left was to stick him to his base, add some texture paste, paint the base, and we were good to go. This guy turned out really cool. He's super imposing. He's kind of looking down upon the battlefield. That's kind of how I think he looks. Yeah, let me know what you think, and on to the next. Next up we have the Manticore Knight. I started that off with a base coat of red, and then I've just built up progressive highlights to kind of like a medium orange. Again, using those scratchy highlights to get some texture. You know, it's fabric, it should have some texture and feeling to it. After the cloak, it was a pretty quick non-metallic metal on the armor, mainly just painting in the highlights. And kind of a trick for painting armor like this is base coating in a really reflective primer, because that gives you all the natural reflections and you can just basically paint them in. Next up is the non-metallic gold, and I really wanted to push myself on this mini, so I decided to do everything in non-metallics. I've not done a huge amount of non-metallics, especially not much gold non-metallic, so this was a real chance to kind of take my time and really learn the technique. And there were points during this whole painting process that I kind of thought this isn't going very well and it kind of looks a bit rubbish, but actually in the end I think it turned out really well and looks really good. You start gold with like a really dark brown, and then I usually put like an ochre color, but I learned a trick recently where after the ochre color goes on, you add a bright orange, and it looks kind of ridiculous, but then once you've blended everything out, it creates this kind of really warm royal gold feeling, something that a knight would have. As a final step, I just went over some of the shadows again quickly before doing a final highlight of a almost white yellow. Next up is the axe, and I really wanted this to look very battle worn, full of chips and cracks and not smooth, you know, maintained but only to the point of necessity. So this is a very rough non-metallic, full of scratches and battle damage. And with that, the Manticore Knight was done. I really enjoyed painting this guy, and I think he came out great. He's actually easily one of my favourite models I've painted to date. And yeah, let me know what you think down below. Next up is Jacobus Vine. Now, I have no idea if I've said that name right, but we're going to roll with it. Now, this guy is called the Jade Wizard, so I decided to hit the nail right on the head and paint his cloak a jade colour. So I started with a darkened jade green by Vallejo, and then basically I've just used the raw paint as the mid-tone, and I've added white to make the highlight color. And you can see I'm doing the same scratchy highlights as I did on the red cloak for the Manticore Knight, just with Jade, and I think it looks really cool. Next I just hit the undercoat with some brown, then I mixed up this really bright green, which was actually that same Jade color mixed with Goblin Green, which I then highlighted with Goblin Green. I gave the brown a quick wash of Agrax Earthshade, and then decided to come in and give it some highlights with that same ochre colour that I used on the non-metallic gold. Again, just doing scratchy highlights all over every raised area, and it came out kind of like this, which I really like. Adds again that kind of fabric-y feel. I used the same Jade and Goblin Green mix with highlights of Goblin Green to do the neck section of the cloak, followed by painting the hood in the same Jade. Gave his face just a quick base coat of generic flesh tone and painted his beard grey. Now onto the weapons. His staff I just hit straight away with a Dark Angels contrast paint, followed by using some red to highlight the tips, and then I just eventually mixed in some Goblin Green again into the tip to make it kind of glow. And he's the Jade Wizard as well, so I thought I'd paint those leaves in a bright jade colour. I just did a basic non-metallic on the sickle, going from black to white and then blending it all in with grey. And there you go. Now I think he looks really cool, but let's see all the models side by side. there we have it. What a start to the Darkwater series. I think these models turned out great and they look really good next to all the others. You can see the Blight Templars there spinning with the rest. Yeah, I'm looking forward to painting more of this set up, and I'll definitely document the rest of it. Anyway, really hope you enjoyed. Remember to like and subscribe, and thank you. I'll see you next time. Cheers, have a great day.